Hello everyone, this is Corey Klein, and today I'm going to be walking you through my proposal for program evaluation of the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, known as WIOA. As you can see, I've included a table of contents here, and this is just a brief overview of everything I will be covering in this presentation. The WIOA Act was signed into law by Congress in 2014, and it's actually the continuation of a previous program known as WIA. Because of the success of the previous program, it was decided to be in the nation's best interest to expand and alter the program so that it's able to offer more services to more groups of people. This is a very large program that's run on a national scale, and it also serves groups such as dislocated workers and adults with disabilities. However, for the purposes of this evaluation, I will only be focusing on the youth program aspect of WIOA. So the general rationale for WIOA is that to become a competitive job seeker, individuals need access to the proper training, education, and opportunities as everyone else. However, if you're a youth with one or more barriers to employment, you're at an automatic disadvantage as you're transitioning from high school or your teenage life into your adult life. So this program aims to serve those youth with barriers to employment and provide them with everything that they're going to need to become a competitive job seeker. Not only does the program aim to do that, it also aims to serve local businesses, communities, and employers by increasing the quantity of skilled laborers and increase the retention of employees at certain businesses. In general, the WIOA youth program aims to serve two different groups of youth with one or more barriers to employment. These groups are in-school youth, who are aged between 14 and 21 when they're recruited, and out-of-school youth, aged between 16 and 24 at the time that they're recruited. Generally speaking, unless a specific local workforce area is not able to meet certain recruitment goals, a minimum of 75% of program expenditure must be spent on services for out-of-school youth. For in-school and out-of-school youth to be eligible for the WIOA youth program and receive its services, each youth needs to possess one or more defined barriers to employment. Here I've included a list of recognized barriers to employment. As you can see, it encompasses a lot of different barriers, whether it is a youth with a disability, whether it's a physical disability or some form of learning disability, all the way to homeless or runaway youth, to ex-offenders, or English language learners, or those with low literacy skills that's affecting their ability to gain employment. If youth in local workforce areas are identified as having one or more of these barriers, then they are eligible to be recruited into the program. Once eligible in-school and out-of-school youth are successfully recruited into the program, they can immediately begin receiving any of the 14 core services offered by the program. As you can see, the core services provided by the program are pretty wide in range in what they're meant to accomplish. This is because each of the individuals recruited into the program has their own sets of needs and barriers to employment that we're trying to address. One of the main goals of the WIOA youth program is to assist both in-school and out-of-school youth with the attainment of their diploma or GED, as this will help them later in life as they pursue different occupations or pursue higher education. The WIOA youth program works in close partnership with local school districts, community colleges, and other educational facilities to assist students in their attainment of a diploma. Providing clients with both paid and unpaid work experiences, whether it is an internship or a job shadowing opportunity, is a major focus of this program. To accomplish this, the WIOA program works in close partnership with local businesses and employers that are able to provide these opportunities for our clients. In addition to educational assistance and assistance in gaining the paid and unpaid work experiences, the WIOA program also offers us a bunch of services that are meant to help youth as they transition into the global economy. And so these kind of services are anything from occupational skills training to financial literacy education to any activity that helps them transition and gain the life skills that they'll need to be successful and be able to operate individually in the future. Providing financial assistance as well as assistance with transportation to and from work experiences is also something that WIOA is able to do. Any and all of these services are able to be provided the entire time the client is enrolled in the program and will continue until the client has exited the program. The long-term goals and objectives of the WIOA Youth Program is to increase the long-term job prospects and opportunities for higher education for all program participants. In addition to this, after successfully exiting the program participants should have continued paid employment with increased wages. In addition to serving the clients of the program, the WIO Youth Program also aims to effectively service employers, business owners, and local communities by increasing the amount and retention of skilled workers. Here is the logic model that I created for the WIOA Youth Program. I would like to draw your attention to the input section where I've described the amount of federal funding that the program as a whole received in 2020. Additionally, I've explained about the state and local workforce development boards, which are in charge of the day-to-day operation of the program, and they're responsible for, local workforce development boards are responsible for reporting to the state, and the state is responsible for reporting to the federal government, and so on. So it's a very layered program. On the ground are WIOA case managers, program coordinators, and youth transition specialists who are kind of in charge of dealing individually with the clients in specific areas. And I've also talked about the partnerships that the WIOA Youth Program has with school districts, education entities, and local businesses and employers. For activities, I've listed here a bunch of administrative and day-to-day requirements for the WIOA program. They need to distribute funds to individuals and socially or financially disadvantaged youth in local workforce areas. They are responsible for identifying eligible program partners and creating a kind of a collaboration between the workforce development boards as well as possible training partners, education entities, housing organizations, etc., anything that's needed to support the clients. The program also awards competitive grants and contracts to select program service providers who fulfill youth workforce investment activities. Aside from recruiting eligible youth, the WIO program also helps connect the youth to case managers and specialists who kind of assess their needs and also help them connect with potential employers and kind of acts as liaisons and facilitators between the participants and anyone else who is involved in their transition process. The 14 core services that I talked about earlier are the main output of the youth program. And as I've said, immediately after being recruited into the program, participants will be receiving any and all of these services until they exit the program. I've also put a range of short-term to long-term outcomes for the youth program. In the short term, participants will start receiving occupational training, academic support, potentially paid or unpaid work experience, and they will start to learn the necessary skills to successfully transition into the labor market. In the intermediate term, they will have the attainment of their school diploma or equivalent degree. They'll have measurable skill gains in academics, work experience, or occupational training. They'll have an increased number of participants who are in post-secondary education, training activities or unsubsidized employment at the second and fourth quarters, and they will have a higher median earnings of employed participants at the second quarter after exit. In the long term, as I've covered before, long-term job prospects for participants, continued paid employment, increased earnings, and effectively servicing local communities and employers. Down at the bottom, I've also included some assumptions and external factors that may or may not affect the overall success of the program in a specific workforce area. Through my evaluation of this program, I'm going to be answering two main questions. What percentage of participants successfully exited the program? Of those, what percentage of program participants are employed, have received employment credentials, enrolled in academic or training programs, or achieved measurable skill gains after exiting the program? This evaluation will focus specifically on program participants who have successfully exited the program. You can see down at the bottom that I've put program exit is defined as a period of 90 days since a participant has received any of the 14 core services. This evaluation is meant to measure the overall effectiveness of the program and to measure the extent to which program participants are reaching the stated long-term goals. To measure this, I will be using 6 performance indicators that are built into the program itself. Because this evaluation is judging the overall effectiveness, and based on these 6 indicators that are built into the program, I've decided that a post-test only evaluation is the most appropriate framework for the evaluation. By law, state and local workforce development boards are required to collect and report data on program participants. They report this data to the Employment and Training Administration. From the database of the Employment and Training Administration, which is easily accessible, you are able to access national and state data for every quarter of the year, as well as a breakdown for each year. This evaluation team will be making use of the quantitative data that is collected as a function of the program. And so the evaluation will be able to collect and analyze data in a very cost-efficient manner. You can also find a formula for calculating each of the performance indicators in the training and guidance letter that is provided by the Employment and Training Administration. By making use of this database, it will allow the evaluation team to answer all of the evaluation questions in a very efficient and cost-efficient manner. Here, I've included an enlarged image of a sample of the interactive map, which acts as a database. Additionally, here is a breakdown of a quarterly report, and I can easily look for the number of participants under each demographic. I can look at the number of participants who have certain barriers to employment, and I'm able to calculate the percentage of participants in each area that are reaching long-term goals and successfully exiting the program. Lastly, here is my works cited page for all of the works and databases that I referenced throughout the presentation. This program is very large and very difficult to understand, so if after watching this presentation and reading anything that I wrote and you have any further questions, please let me know, because I would definitely like to explain this program in even more detail if I'm able to. Thank you so much.